I'm Dave's boy with Potter Shop Hollow Tree Farm and Portable Sawmill. And one of the things I love about sawmilling is you don't know what's inside the logs, and it's fun. It's like when I was a kid, we had Cracker Jacks, and I'd get a box of Cracker Jacks as a treat, and the first thing I do is just pour out the Cracker Jacks and dig through and find out what was inside. Cutting logs is a lot like that. You don't know what's going to be inside. Usually it's something special and something pretty cool. Sometimes it's not a pleasant surprise, but you take that along with the good as well. But this video is about some of the fun that I have and the enjoyment that anyone can have running a sawmill. And I've got some logs staged up, ready to go, that have been accumulating for a while. Oh, that's oddball stuff. Logs, they're too short or crooked or of a species that I haven't gotten around to cutting yet. And this is a good opportunity to throw some of that stuff up on the mill, have some fun, and see what's inside them. So, got some cherry pieces here. They're too small for the sawmill. So I'm going to put them on upright like this. And I'm going to cut cross sections or cookies from them. And those can be used for different things. A lot of people like them for weddings, that sort of thing. So might be floor tiles. We just have to see. So anyway, kind of an experiment here. You can see I've got it clamped down, held with these boards to squeeze them together. And it's a scrap board. Probably wouldn't make good lumber anyway because it's off the edge of the cant. So I'm going to sacrifice it, and I'll cut straight down as I go, cut strips off the board too. And I can always use that for stickers, so it won't go to waste. Try not to waste anything around here. So what you got to be careful if you do this is to take your feed like really easy, and you run clamp down pretty securely so they don't try to spin on you. So let's see if it works. So there's a couple dozen cookies fresh off the mill, so to speak. And they're popular at weddings. You know, to put wedding cakes on, that sort of thing. And if I could sell them for a couple bucks a piece, that's not bad. 15-20 minutes worth of work. Really no investment in material. That was just all scrap anyway. So anytime I can turn a little bit of scrap wood into cash, that's not a bad deal. And I enjoy it too. So Now here's a real dilemma. What on earth would you do with a piece of wood like this? This is elm, and it came from a tree service. He said if I wanted it, I could take it home. I didn't turn them down. Interesting thing about elm is at the base, it tends to have these flutes that give it a real interesting shape, but it also makes it a little more challenging to cut on the sawmill. So I've been looking at it for a while, and what I've decided to do is take my chainsaw. I'm going to cut off a couple of cookies just to have cross sections to play with. I think they might make interesting tables, that type of thing. You can see the tree rings and the interesting shape, and that'll give me a product that I can sell, and I'll still have about a 5-foot section that I can put on the sawmill and get some slabs out of it. And who knows, maybe I'll make a slab table out of this part, and then a couple of end tables for each end out of the fluted part. So we'll see what the tree gives us on this. Well, I probably let these sit longer than I should have. You can see they're already spalted, and that could be a good thing. Can make some pretty wood if you treat it right. Otherwise, it'd just be scrap. But especially this other piece here, it's got a nice shape to it, potentially some nice figure, and we'll see what we get. Meanwhile, we've got enough log there. We can put it on the mill and get some slabs out of it. This tree's had a pretty rough life, but the slabs tell quite the story. This came to me, I got it from a tree service that cut it out of a yard in Springfield, Missouri. And you see the curve to the grain. This is what the tree looked like when it was growing up as a sapling. It was crooked. It had a fork that came out here that broke off at some point. And what some people might call defect, I call it character. The slab itself is about 29 inches wide, a little over 4 feet long, and we've got just a whole spectrum of colors, ranging from kind of a smooth cream colored to a kind of a chocolatey brown, a little bit of a blue-gray streaks running through it. Shows signs of spalting, which is a fungus that gives it a lot more character. So this would make a wonderful tabletop. Well, our next piece is going to be hedge, and it's not even 4 feet long, so it's not going to go across the cross bunks. So what we're going to do, we've put some boards down to support it, and we've got a backing board here to hold it, and hopefully it'll rest here long enough for me to slice it up. So that's just one of the tricks you learn when you're doing with this oddball stuff. There's always a way to cut it. You just have to stop and think about what you're doing. And I got that position so that the flattest side is down, so it's pretty stable. But I've also got it so I can get this clamp on it. And that'll help lock it down too. So this is Osage orange, and it is one of the hardest woods to deal with that I've ever cut. And that starts with cutting down the tree because it has thorns in it. And if you find the right woodworker, they will absolutely fall in love with a slab like this. You just have to find the right woodworker. I think I'll save this last piece and make it into a bench. That'll be pretty. So what we have here is an oddball piece of sycamore. It was left behind from a logging operation, just a piece of junk that nobody wanted. And it's a little bit over 4 feet long. It's long enough to sit on the cross bunks, but as you can see, our clamps won't quite reach it. I could reset the clamps and that would only take a couple of minutes, but on a lot of mills you cannot move the clamps. So I want to give you a quick demonstration of how I deal with short logs that'll go across the bunks but won't quite catch the clamps. And the way you do that is to bridge across the clamps with a board. Now I'll roll that log up, get it positioned the way I want to. And that should be enough to hold it in place for what we're doing. Alright, so this is the piece right out of the dead center of the log. We've got some knots here that give it character. The grain's kind of swirling around it. And one thing is I've got some real pretty feathered grain up here where that where it forks off. So that'll make a real pretty piece. We can take two pieces, book match them together to make a wide tabletop, and that's really going to be something. So All that just out of a scrap piece of sycamore. Alright, so we have a total of 8 slabs. 3 of them are really nice wide ones, and a few of them kind of narrow like this, which are still worth cutting. And probably $300 worth of lumber and about a half hour's worth of work. And that's out of a log that was left out in the woods to rot because nobody thought it would be worth cutting. So we showed them they're wrong. And that's what I like about running this little sawmill, is it gives me the opportunity to salvage some amazing wood that otherwise would never see the light of day. This is Sycamore, and to give you an idea on size, it measures across diameter of right at 40 inches. And the length is about 8 feet long, and just in this one log is about 620 feet on the international scale. Now, yes, 40 inches is too big to go on the sawmill, but I wouldn't let that stop you if you're really interested in getting some very special lumber out of your logs. Being sycamore, it has an incredibly beautiful quarter sawn grain to it. In fact, it's known in woodworking circles as American lacewood. Now, you wanted to see an American lacewood tree? Doesn't exist. It's not lacewood until you have done the quarter sawing on the sycamore. So the question is, how do you get something this size onto a sawmill that can handle a maximum of 36-inch diameter? Well, this is just a preview of what we've got to look forward to. It looks even better when it comes off the mill because it's cutting straighter and smoother, but even so, we've got Well, I think we got ourselves a real pretty log. Well, it must seem like my idea of fun involves an awful lot of work. Well, it involves effort, that's for darn sure. But as far as work, I guess that's all in the eye of the beholder. Some people run marathons or otherwise have ideas of recreation that involves a lot more effort than what I put into this, and they seem to enjoy it too. So whether it's milling up a sycamore log so huge that I have to quarter it with the sawmill first, or something so small that I have to figure out some way to clamp it down just to get a board or two out of it, I enjoy it. I guess it's the challenge that I enjoy the most. That and seeing what's buried inside that log that nobody else knows about. Something else I enjoy is what you can do with the wood once you've milled it and dried it. This is the finished product. It's a mountain dulcimer. The back sides are all walnut that I've cut on the sawmill, and the soundboard is sycamore, which I also cut on the sawmill, and I can tell you exactly what tree it came from. In the case of the sycamore, it had been standing dead for about a year, which is why we have all that spalted character to it, and doesn't sound too bad.